welcome to Gridiron Gurus. I'm Travis Lazarczyk for the Kennebec Journal Morning Sentinel, joined by Bill Stewart, our sports editor, and we're joined this week by Winthrop Monmouth head coach Dave St. Hilaire. Dave, thanks for being with us.
No problem.
Let's kind of talk a little bit about the end of last week's win over Dirigo. Kind of talk about the play call selection for the winning pass.
We'd set up a play for Andrew Pizerko, who was our flanker, and he was on the right side of the field. We'd set it up, and he didn't run the route that we'd wanted to previously. So we went back to that route, but on the backside we had Bennett Brooks open for a go route, and Matt Ingram kind of threw it on short, but Bennett had such a great route, and the ball was actually in the air for where he needed to get it, and touchdown. So.
Was that something you had seen throughout the game, like, hey, this might be open if we need it?
Bennett actually came over and said, hey, when Andrew runs that route, one-on-one I can beat my guy. So we said, go route, and we hit it.
And so when players go to you and say that kind of stuff, hey, listen, I could do this on this play. I mean, you guys pretty open to just to listen to what they say.
Yeah, and with Bennett and Matt, they have such a good rapport with each other that we give them the option almost every play. Hey, if you see something, take it. If you want to change your route, change it. Take that route. Yeah, they can execute it.
And of course, Brooks, I mean, he was the one who was dinged up after your season opener, right, with the win over Lisbon, and didn't play week two?
Early third quarter. We sat him out week 2. Last week, he was used offensively and only in third and long passing situations. We took him on special teams and basically went one way with him. But he's good now. So.
3 weeks of the season now, how have you seen your conference kind of shaping up? Is it kind of how you expected it to go so far, or any surprises?
It is. Old Orchard's maybe a bit better than people thought, but the other teams are right there. It's what everyone thought they'd be, and I know Dirigo's got the 22 kids, but 15 of them are tough as nails.
Right.
And Lisbon's really putting things together, and Oak Hill's, Oak Hill.
Well, I mean, coming into the season, obviously you guys had a ton of buzz surrounding you. You were very much that trendy pick to be that favorite of the league. How have you guys been able to handle both those expectations, in that they seem to be kind of growing here with each win and each week,
Yeah, well, the first week we really played well, and the second week we played well defensively. We didn't do as well as we thought offensively. We didn't capitalize on some situations where we could have a couple of touchdowns. This past weekend, the film session Monday was really, really ugly because we missed assignments on a lot of basic plays, core plays from our wing tee that really hurt us. And the kids, it was an eye-opener for the kids Monday. So this week we've worked to correct those. But we don't look at ourselves as the favorite. I mean, you look at the Crabtrees this morning, and Oak Hill's still is in first place. So we just take and go game to game and do the best we can.
Looking ahead a little bit in your league, I'm sure nobody's happy with the way the buys are and the way the schedule turned out this year. Is there been any talk of what can be done to fix that next year? Because you're going to lose Madomic Valley, who's looking to move up to Class C, where their enrollment dictates they are. That would put your league at 7 teams. What can be done to kind of get this fixed?
Next year is realignment, and from what I hear, Spruce Mountain's going to come down. Mountain Valley's going to come down, and there's going to be a couple other schools. So we'll see what that all shakes out at. But something's going to happen. Whether we go 4 classes or 5, I don't know if there are enough teams for 5 right now. So I'm thinking it's going to be 4, but that's just my own thoughts.
Are you one of those coaches who really loves having a bye week, or you just hate it?
We just going to have to make do with what it's there, and there's a chance we could have 2 bye weeks in a row.
Yeah, that's right.
So we've got to be creative. We've got to work on conditioning. We're trying to line up a controlled scrimmage with somebody else that might have a bye, but we haven't had any luck right now. Yeah. So we just got to make the best of it, and we can work on some things and keep some other teams, our opponents, in the dark on some things.
All right, looking at games here in Week 4, Bill, a couple big games in the Pine Tree Conference Class B with 2 games featuring a pair of undefeated teams. We've got Skowhegan going to Brewer, both of them are 3-0, and Brunswick playing at Messalonskee, also 2 games with 2 teams that are 3-0.
Yeah, and you had kind of written about this in the football notebook this week, that this is going to start this almost like a little mini round robin here at the middle of the season. Everyone's going to kind of see each other. So, it's going to be interesting. Brunswick coach Cooper was saying that we'll finally start to see some separation, even after this weekend with a bunch of undefeated teams going head-to-head. You mentioned Messalonskee and Brunswick. that's an interesting matchup in and of itself, in that, as Cooper's pointed out, Messalonsky, 2 of the last 3 years, has knocked Brunswick out of the ranks of the undefeated.
Right.
And I asked Coach, is it just a matchup thing, or how does something like that happen? And the only thing he could really come up with is, hey, they just are not afraid to play us. Every time we see them, they don't care what records are, who's doing what, and so that's going to be an interesting matchup for sure.
Yeah, success breeds confidence.
Yeah, sure. No, without a doubt. It's just, coaching, as you know, there are just some teams who just have some teams as number. I mean, that's just.
Yeah, and Messalonsky and Brunswick both run the ball better than any team in Class B as far as up in the north, and they it's going to be a fun game to watch for those that love running games.
Yeah, and that Skowhegan-Brewer matchup, Skowhegan with the best passing offense in the league, quarterback Garrett Sweeney with already, I want to say, 9 touchdown passes with no interceptions, and Brewer running that old-fashioned wing T offense that Coach Nick Arthur's learned from his father, who had such success with it in the 90s at Belfast, so that's an interesting matchup there.
Yeah, and of course Trey Wood, the senior tailback from Brewer, comes from a long football family. I think he played for, or his dad played for UMaine, was a fullback back in the day, and yeah, they can just run, and they'll just come right at you.
Yeah, another game with 2 undefeated teams is in the Big Ten Conference Class C North. We got undefeated Winslow 3-0, and Madison, kind of the upstart in that league at 3-0.
Yeah, again, that's going to be interesting. Winslow got a pretty decent test last week from MDI. I mean, he had a couple kids run over 100 yards against him. I mean, I'm sure Coach Mike Savisky had plenty of stuff to look at the film. And but again, it'll be a good test for Madison. I think we'll get a pretty good gauge of where it's at.
Yeah, I got to get anything better than Winslow right now the last few years. And boy, they're a tough team. But it's fun to watch them, but I'm sure it's not fun to play or coach against them.
Yeah, 25 straight wins, and looking at 26 straight if they can win at Madison this week.
Not many of them close.
No. Do you follow like all the other conferences and so forth? Do you?
Yeah, well, I'm part of the Central Maine Football Forecasters Association. I've been part of that for quite some time. So there's a few of us that have affiliated with different teams, so we don't choose our games at all. But yeah, I've got to keep my thumb on the pulse of the high school football throughout the state.
And then you could admire teams like Winslow from afar and not have to game plan against them, right? So.
In a big game in the Little 10 Conference, we have 2-1 Mount View making the very long trip north to 2-1 Holton. Mount View coming off a big win against Monmouth Academy to solidify their playoff spot. Holton 2-1, kind of a young program, but still coming along.
Yeah, I mean, each week you look at the Mustangs and you say, geez, this is a game that we really would love to have. And then each week they seem to get it. So, I mean, this is a team that's just kind of trending in the right direction and certainly heading toward the playoffs.
Yeah, Coach, did you follow along to the other side just to kind of keep track of who could be possible an opponent should he make it to states? Or?
Yeah, well, Mount View's got that the good running back that's pretty multi-skilled. He had a big week last week. MCI, from what I hear, is still the cream of the crop up there. And that's surprising. I think they lost 9 kids to graduation on each side of the ball, but they just plug kids in and keep going.
Okay. All right, that's it for us this week. We want to thank Dave St. Hilaire for joining us. And wherever game you get out to, enjoy it. And we will see you next time on Gridiron Gurus.